Brother gotta eat. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to our service today. But before I get started, I want to send prayers and condolences to the Israelis and the Palestinians as they move forward to find common ground in their struggle for peace and meet each other with love and compassion. Because that is what is needed and that is what is required. And I believe that sometimes we forget that we need to love more than we need to do anything else. And that is why it says, whatever the question, love is the answer. But some of us like to rebel. Giving thanks to the living God that has created this world and all life and everything in it, and has given it everything that it is needed for its survival and its existence. And all of this happens in the flow and in the overflowing of as we become aware. See, it is only in our lack of awareness of who and what we are connected to that doesn't allow us to receive all the good that exists. These experiences that we've had in life has changed the way we believe life is and how life will respond to us. So I greet you with the living life and love that is flowing here so that you can open up your mind to know that God is always providing, regardless of what it is that we may be going through. So in Psalms 24, 1 through 5, it says, "The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods." And all it's saying is all that stuff that just has happened, right? It still existed. It's still giving love. It's still making out good. When Moses had to go up there, it still turned out good. Don't look back. Look ahead. See, who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Who gonna go up there? Who gonna rise? Who gonna look and say, I'm the one that I can go and I can make myself better so that my family can see the good that I am, and that resides in the truth of who I am. See, he that hath clean hands and a pure heart, he who hath not lifted up his soul into vanity and not sworn. See, he who's not looking at his distractions and his troubles, but he who says, I can, and I'm the one that's going to do it, despite what it is that has happened, what has happened to me. You see, he shall receive the blessings from the Lord and the righteousness from the God of his salvation. What are we believing? What are we expecting? See, we are living in the overflow because the universe is pregnant with opportunities and full of gifts for the one who believes that they are connected to the giver. Our thoughts in our subjective mind is what determines our receipt of the good we request. If we are holding to the past grudges, anger, misfortune, resentment, this shows a mental blockage, which creates doubt, which will not allow us to be open to the spirit that is operating in us. See, when we are responding from a place of hurt and confusion and not from expectation or trust, this is a sign of a disconnect from the power. To stay connected, we should practice. Daily practice. We need to become humble. See, and just relax and sit and know that I'm allowing God to handle this. Yeah, it's challenging because of that monkey mind. It's always rattling something. But this is why we have to be still. Be still and talk to God. Schedule a time that you set aside so that you can talk with God. And then release it until that power that is moving and working everything out. See, it's when we are obedient to ourselves, being disciplined with the power that is given to us, is when we can connect and remove the distractions and the frustrations. So in Luke, it says, no one can serve two masters. We can't serve both of them. We can't serve love, fear, hate. You can't do that because that's confusion. And it just will hold if we just, excuse me, it's a little loose up here and it's swinging at me. Maybe. Stop. See, we cannot trust and fear. We can't have the two results at the same. You just can't, right? And expect to get the blessing or the benefits necessary to lift us out of our troubles. It won't happen. We have to stand in the midst of our troubles and cast them out of our mind in order to receive the directions or the instructions to restore us and replenish us to wholeness. See, in traditional church, they called it rebuking and casting it out. See, we're supposed to call on the Spirit of God that is waiting on our instructions to deliver us. See, our ignorance has caused us to violate or be violated and has allowed our violations to be our excuse to continue to violate others. See, at one time, our ignorance has caused us to violate or be violated and has allowed our violations to be an excuse to continue to violate ourselves and others. See, at one time, we all agreed that sticks and stones will break my bones and words will never hurt me. And we use that as a model to protect ourselves. And now we say, you hurting my feelings, as an aphorism for protection against our violators. We took the power away from ourselves and gave it to the violator. This is why we are confused. We stood up to our violators and pushed ourselves beyond our belief. And now we're hurting each other because we're walking in our violations and not our power. Words will hurt, absolutely, if we describe them as hurtful. But if we cast them down, we will diminish their power. I know, some of us have been through some tragedy, and he don't know what I've been through. You're absolutely right. But you know what? So has all of us in here. It ain't missed no one. Regardless of what we look like, regardless of how we smile, we've all experienced it. And so we all have been hurt. And guess what we all have to do? We have to affirm that God is protecting me and guiding me to my overflow. See, if we don't affirm the power and the presence of God that is in our lives, we will continue to sink into the abyss of our turmoil thoughts, because these are the thoughts that hold us back. So let's try something here. I want everybody to plant their feet about shoulder width apart from themselves, firmly in the ground. want you to raise your back up some and hold your head up. Feel the strength in yourself. Come on. Feel it. Push down in the ground and raise up your back. And let us affirm. I let go of the past. And I let go of my violations. And my violators. And I walk in my power to restore my mind. Body and soul now. Don't you feel that? Feel it. Feel yourself. Be excited. We have to walk in our strength. This is how, if we don't believe it, then it ain't gonna happen. We have to believe that God is. That's why I'm bending down here. I'm pulling it up. Like, come on, help me feel it more so I can give it, so I can pass it out. You helped me write it, now let me feel it. This is all, it's like, it's confidence in whatever it is that you're doing. And you have to know that God is going to push you, even when you slip, even when you have what they say, like a brain slip, like you disconnect from the words that you're trying to say, but you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused that I'm going to make it through, that it's all right if I do because I'm human, they know it, but if I keep showing them my strength, they're going to follow me. See, we want to be led. We all want to be led. We all want to look to somebody that can inspire us and guide us. So be strong. And when it gets a little challenging, just stop. Take it all in. Just breathe. Slow it down and let God work. See, in order to receive the overflow, we're supposed to, as it says in Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not on our own understanding. And in all our ways, acknowledge him, and he will make our path straight. It don't matter what the confusion is. I think, so much what we've done is we've looked for condemnation from the book so much that we just think we can't do nothing. We think we captive because it's like, man, a sinner, what is that? Man, what distorted? Who changed what? I ain't did nothing. Know that God birthed you and brought you into existence, regardless of how it happened, regardless of how you came. Know that it was a calling on you and your family. He just said, come forth. See, even though you may not be known in the world, you may not be known nowhere else but in your family, but guess what? They know who you are. And they saw what you've been doing, and they're looking to you for the guidance to be a better steward of their lives. That's all they're doing. And that's okay that you don't reach millions and thousands of followers. But for those who want that, right, pursue that, because you can have that. But I'm saying, know who you are, where you are. And as you grow and you build up your confidence, they gonna follow. They gonna come. But you gotta be able to handle that. Are you ready to handle all that? See, I'm not saying what you are. I'm saying these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Because it's coming. It's coming. You got to know, we got to stand in our own truth, and that's what this book is always talking about. Know who you are, stand in your truth and in your principles. You don't need to be distracted over here and distracted. We already know what that does. All of us know about being distracted, and we know about those who were distracted. So we got to stand in our truth and know that I don't need that to find me. I know who I am because I love myself. I love me. and I'm just trying to grow every day. See, we have allowed our violations to cast us in the pit of turmoil. And we should cast our violations and violators out of our lives now and forever. See, when we take control over our lives with spirit, we will be led to our overflow. The promise of God is, if we lay our burdens down, we will be free from them. It's already been written. You got to bring them unto me. Bring them to the altar. Loose them. Let them go. Lay them down. But I need to pick this one up because they didn't hear me when I told them this is what we do. See, this is only the struggle, and I bring this up because I'm going to get to the prosperity and the overflow, but I want us to look at how we think and what stops us from being who we are, right? In these moments, like we in the way of ourselves because we overthink what we don't need to even think about. We're here, and we should just be grateful that we're here and deliver from what we understand from here. And tomorrow will take care of itself. See, our parents was telling us that, but it went over our heads because it was just simple and plain. Tomorrow will take care of itself. We couldn't grasp it. We was like, what? Don't we have to prepare? They teaching us in school to prepare. Parents didn't go to school. Tomorrow will take care of itself. But I gotta make sure I get a schedule and write it out. But I get it, you know. It's nothing wrong with being disciplined. And as I stated earlier, we cannot hold on to our violations and violators and be free in our mind. Any act of regret, remorse, and revenge must be released, and the acceptance of the Christ man must be practiced until it becomes principled. And if you ask any athlete, he practices more than anything. Just got to practice. So every opportunity in our lives, we should be practicing. Nobody has to know you practicing. You ain't got to say, well, God said, I told me to do this. You just know within yourself, this is what I heard to do, I'm going to do it. And then what happens from that moment that you did, you journal that in your mind, the good that was. Now you know to repeat the act. And then if you somehow get your ego involved again, right? I mean, this is what we do. Then you notice, how did that work out? That wasn't what I expected from that. So that's saying, don't do it like that. This is how life works. But we too busy thinking about a God who wants to condemn us because he's a jealous God. See, and he's looking down and he see all that you're doing. So therefore, as you do this, I got to make sure you don't act like this. No. It was a description of the writer's idea of what it took to get in alignment with God. See, people wrote differently. It is an expression of what it is that, you know what, since I said fear God, I got to make them know that if they do that, he's going to throw stones and rocks and come down. Right? Know that it's cause and effect. Yes, there's repercussions to the mistakes we make, cause and effect. Right? So that's an awareness that we cannot do this if it affects me that way. And this is why it comes, we have to have a renewing of our minds, a new understanding of the way in which God works and operates in life through me. Because that is the only way that we're going to understand and receive the goodness. In chapter 8, Ernest Holmes, in The Thoughts Are Things, it says, a realization of the presence of God is the most powerful healing agency to the mind of man. I remember when my mother was having a physical challenge, and she would just say, I'm waiting on the Lord. You know, and as a kid, I'm thinking, you know, maybe we should go to the doctor. She said, I'm waiting on the Lord. I didn't understand it. But as I got older, you know, I understood she was waiting until God led her to go do it. But see, as a kid, I didn't get that. Like, why? You're not feeling well. Let's go address it. I'm waiting on the Lord. And so we need to wait on the Lord. Because it is those thoughts of what God is for us that he does through us that we accept that make us better. That's when we get better, when we believe it. Haven't you noticed you always felt better when you believed it? Even though you were still sniffling a little bit, you were still hurting, but when you said, nah, I feel good, you felt better. Because we tapped into the power, the thing that is operating in us. And then it seemed like it's all gone. But we didn't forget, but we let it be still. Let it go in that moment. And those are the moments that we're trying to connect to, that we sit in all day. But we don't want to be there all day. I know, got things to do, people to see, places to go. Our declaration should be God and I are one. And as I recognize God and I are one, I become unified as one. And my word spoken speaks to my oneness. I become enlightened with the power to lead me to my overflow. See, if Ephesians 2:10, it says, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. In advance of. Can't block it because I'm hurting. Can't block it because they said not me. Can't block it because they don't think that I'm good enough. That's me getting in my own way. Because God said it, I accept it. And I believe it, and I'm going to use it. The overflow is in the universe and waiting on our recognition of who we are as the thing itself that we are looking for. We're it. And we must renew our minds so that we can transform our misfortunes into our victories by declaring and believing we are the new creature. We are the new idea. We are the new model. We are the new person with the power to resolve our issues and receive our overflow. Romans 8:11. But if the spirit of man that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Christ from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. It's in us. We can deny it all we want to, but it's in us. So let us lift ourselves up in consciousness as the Christ man is intended, as complete in mind, body, and soul, which lifts our faculties of mind to conform to use the divine mind, to complete the transformation that will assist us until we receive our overflow. We are magnificent. We are brilliant. We are walking, breathing, living in the overflow. And just because we haven't accepted our overflow doesn't mean there's no overflow. It just means we haven't accepted our overflow. So remember, we are built by God, led by Spirit, and walked by faith. And so it is.